Oh, it's gonna break her poor little heart when she finds out. Hey everyone, Henry Yellow here. Welcome back. Right now we are going to watch Sunset Boulevard, and this is what I call a midnight movie because right now it is midnight. Luckily for me, this is not a horror movie. It's a movie which I hope to enjoy watching and chill before I go to bed tonight. So let's get to it.
Yes, this is Sunset Boulevard, Los Angeles, California. A murder has been reported from one of those great big houses in the 10,000 block. The body of a young man was found floating in the pool of her mansion. Nobody important, really. Just a movie writer with a couple of B pictures to his credit. The poor dope. He always wanted a pool. Let's go back about 6 months and find the day when it all started.
Joseph C. Gillis,
That's right.
we've come for the car.
Why should I give you the keys?
Because you're 3 payments behind, and because we got a court order.
I loaned it to a friend of mine. He took it down to Palm Springs.
That car better be back here by noon tomorrow, or there's going to be fireworks.
You say the cutest thing.
He's a writer who's not doing well.
Well, I needed about $290. I needed it real quick or I'd lose my car. I had an original story kicking around Paramount. I knew a big shot over there who'd always liked me.
Wow, going to Paramount Pictures itself.
It's about a baseball player. Poor kid was once mixed up in a holdup, but he's trying to go straight, except there are a bunch of gamblers that won't let him.
They tell the poor kid he's got to throw the World Series or else, huh? You got a title?
Bases loaded. There's a 40-page outline.
On that basis loaded, I covered it with a 2-page synopsis.
Thank you.
It was just a rehash of something that wasn't very good to begin with.
Meet Mr. Gillis. He wrote it.
Right now, I wish I could crawl in a hole and pull it in after me. I just think that pictures should say a little something.
Oh, one of the message kids. Just a story won't do. You'd have turned down Gone with the Wind.
No, that was me. I said, who wants to see a Civil War picture?
I'm over a barrel. I need a job.
I haven't got a thing.
Could you let me have $300 yourself as a personal loan?
Last year, somebody talked me into buying a ranch in the valley. So I borrowed the money from the bank. This year, I had to mortgage the ranch so I could keep up my life insurance, so I could borrow on my...
Well, the answer is no.
I got myself 10 nickels and started sending out a general SOS. I talked to a couple of yes men at Metro. To me, they said no.
Yes men saying no.
Of course I could give you $300, only I'm not going to. Don't you know the finest things in the world have been written on an empty stomach?
If I lose my car, it's like having my legs cut off.
Greatest thing that could happen to you. Now you'll have to write.
What do you think I've been doing? The time had come to wrap up the whole Hollywood deal and go home. Back to that $35 a week job behind the copy desk of the Dayton Evening Post. Uh-oh.
He's not getting out of this one. I mean, they can legally claim back the car. Oh, what a great timing.
I had landed myself in the driveway of some big mansion. It was a great big white elephant of a place. The kind crazy movie people built in the crazy 20s.
Crazy 20s. Almost 100 years ago.
It was like that old woman in Great Expectations, taking it out on the world because she'd been given the go-by.
You there! Why are you so late?
I just put my car in the garage. I had a blowout. I thought maybe this...
Go on in. If you need any help with the coffin, call me.
Coffin? What? Did they think he's the Undertaker or something? That was Eric von Streich, wasn't it?
I've made up my mind we'll bury him in the garden. I want the coffin to be white, and I want it specially lined with satin.
What? Is it an ape, a gorilla? Oh, it is.
Lady, you got the wrong man. I had some trouble with my car, flat tire. I thought this was an empty house.
It is not.
You're Norma Desmond. Used to be in silent pictures. Used to be big.
I am big. It's the pictures that got small.
Oh, okay.
There was a time in this business when they had the eyes of the whole wide world. But that wasn't good enough for them. Oh, no. They had to have the ears of the world, too.
Don't blame me. I'm not an executive, just a writer.
Well, you've made a rope of words and strangled this business, but there's a microphone right there to catch the last gurgles, and Technicolor to photograph the red swollen tongue.
You wake up the monkey.
Get out! You're a writer, you said.
Why?
Are you or aren't you? The wind gets in that blasted pipe organ. I ought to have it taken out.
Oh, it's an actual sound.
This is to be a very important picture. I've written it myself. Took me years.
Looks like enough for 6 important pictures.
It's the story of Salome, a return to the millions of people who've never forgiven me for deserting the screen. The princess in love with a holy man. He rejects her, so she demands his head on a golden tray, kissing his cold, dead lips.
I'm not sure that's allowed. The Hays Code will cut you off before you even get it produced.
Sit down. Is there enough light?
I've got 20/20 vision.
I said sit down.
Quite a domineering woman, isn't she?
She sat coiled up like a watch spring. I could sense her eyes on me from behind those dark glasses, defying me not to like what I read. It sure was a cozy setup. That bundle of raw nerves and a dead monkey upstairs, and the wind wheezing through that organ once in a while.
Oh, I keep forgetting. I keep thinking it's a background music, but it's the wind blowing through the organ.
He must have been a very important chimp. The great-grandson of King Kong, maybe. I'd started concocting a little plot of my own. What it needs is a little more dialogue.
What for? It's the same thing I want with my eyes.
Well, it certainly could use a pair of shears and a blue pencil.
I will not have it butchered.
Just an editing job. You can find somebody.
Like you.
I mean, what sign of the zodiac? I like Sagittarians. You can trust them.
Thank you.
I want you to do this work.
I just finished a script and I'm doing another assignment.
It's a lie.
You know, I'm pretty expensive.
I wouldn't worry about money. I'll make it worth your while.
Look, I'll come back early tomorrow.
Nonsense. There's a room over the garage. Max will take you there.
She's playing right into his hands, and she's showing off that bracelet of gold.
I dropped the hook, and she snapped at it. And there should be plenty of money in it.
Yeah, he caught a lucky break. Got himself a job, 500 a week.
She's quite a character, that Norma Desmond.
She was the greatest of them all. You wouldn't know. You're too young. Men bribed the hairdresser to get a lock of her hair. There was a Maharaja who came all the way from India to beg one of her silk stockings. Later, he strangled himself with it.
What? People want the lock of her hair. Nowadays, people want bath water.
The last rites for that hairy old chimp, as if she were laying to rest an only child. Was her life really as empty as that?
Yeah, when your era has passed and you're not willing to move on with the rest of the world, then you get stuck in the past.
Somebody had brought in all my belongings, my books, my typewriter, my clothes. What was going on?
Yeah, how did... And without waking him up. That's impressive.
I'm talking to you. My clothes and things are up in the room.
Stop that playing, Max. It seemed like a good idea if we are to work together.
Hey, it was good music.
You can't work in an apartment where you owe 3 months' rent.
I'll take care of that.
It's all taken care of. It's all paid for.
Money really isn't the problem. Is she wearing a rope around her neck?
I wanted the dough, and I wanted to get out of there as quickly as I could. She was around all the time, hovering over me, afraid I'd do injury to that precious brainchild of hers. Well, honestly, it's a little too much of you. They don't want you in every scene.
Then why they still write me fan letters every day? Because they want to see me, Norma Desmond. Put it back.
He said it was a script 6 movies long. Imagine a 12-hour movie.
She was still sleepwalking along the giddy heights of a lost career. The great Norma Desmond.
Yeah, a little bit of an
Could she
ego.
breathe in that house so crowded with Norma Desmonds?
Whoa, okay.
We'd see a movie right in her living room.
That's nice.
The plain fact was she was afraid of that world outside. Afraid it would
Possible.
remind her that time had passed. Sometimes as we watched, she'd clutch my arm or my hand, excited about that actress up there on the screen.
Herself?
I guess I don't have to tell you who the star was.
Yeah, I know. A little bit narcissistic, isn't it?
We didn't need dialogue. We had faces. There just aren't any faces like that anymore. Haven't they got any eyes? Have they forgotten what a star looks like? I'll show them. I'll be up there again, so help me.
Sometimes there'd be a little bridge game in the house.
One heart.
Spade? Pass. There's some men outside. They asked for you.
I'm not here.
But they found your car in the garage and they're going to tow it away.
They come for my car. Look, I need some money right now.
Can't you wait until I'm done, eh?
No.
Please.
I've lost my car.
Oh, and I thought it was a matter of life and death.
It is to me.
We don't need 2 cars. We have a car. Not one of those cheap new things made of chromium and spit. Masata Foschini. That's a dreadful shirt you're wearing. And I'm getting rather bored with that sport jacket and the same baggy pants.
I don't need any clothes, and I certainly don't want you buying them for me.
Why begrudge me a little fun? I just want you to look nice.
Wait, she's basically his sugar mama. He's become a sugar baby.
It's vicuna. Of course, it's a little more expensive.
The camel's hair will do.
Well, as long as the lady's paying for it, why not take the vicuna?
She's basically taken control of his life. And he doesn't have much of a choice, does he? She's paying for everything, she's buying him everything. Well, this room is certainly an upgrade.
Whose room was this?
It was the room of the husband. Madame has been married 3 times.
Ah.
Hey, what's this with the door? There isn't any lock.
There are no locks anywhere in this house, sir.
Why?
Madame has moments of melancholy. There have been some
Depression.
attempts at suicide.
Why, her career? She got enough out of it. She's not forgotten. She still gets those fan letters.
I wouldn't look too closely at the postmarks.
No way. Did Max write those letters herself? Himself? I guess it's not surprising that Norma has depression from living like this. Rich and famous, but no close connections.
Still waving proudly to a parade which had long since passed her by. It was at her New Year's party that I found out how she felt about me.
Really? You're only finding out now?
Come on, let's have a drink.
Shouldn't we wait for the others?
Mac, champagne.
There are no others.
There are no other guests. We don't want to share this night with other people. This is for you and me.
How about blindfolding the orchestra and smashing champagne glasses over Max's head?
You think this is all very funny.
I felt caught like the cigarette in that contraption on her finger.
Why have a cigarette holder?
I'll buy you a boat and we'll sail to Hawaii.
Stop it. You're not going to buy me anything more.
Shut up. I'm rich. I'm richer than all this new Hollywood trash.
Yeah, apparently
$1
she
million.
is.
Keep it.
What's it for but to buy us anything we want?
Cut out that us business. What right do you have to take me for granted?
What right? You want me to tell you? What you're trying to say is you don't want me to love you. Say it.
She wants to love him, but he doesn't feel the same way. I mean, she's basically buying him.
I had to be with people my own age. I had to hear somebody laugh again.
Yeah, I guess being cooped up for so long is bad.
Say, Artie, can I stick around here for a while? Can you put me up for a couple of weeks?
It just so happens we have a vacancy on the couch.
I'll take it.
I've been hoping to run into you.
What for? To recover that knife you stuck in my back?
I got out some of your old stories.
How'd you like it?
Oh, I didn't.
Thank you.
Except for about 6 pages.
Hey, Joe. I said you could have my couch. I didn't say you could have my girl.
Oh, this is shop talk. It's true. It's moving. Now, why don't you use
Who
that
wants
character?
true? Who wants movie?
A lot of people.
Thirsting for the coolness of your lips.
You can have the phone now. No, Philip, no. We must be strong.
Yeah, you can't have the girl.
Hello, Max. This is Mr. Gillis. I want you to do me a favor.
Madame got the razor from your room and she cut her wrists.
Oh, the razor. Of course she was gonna have another episode because he left her.
How is she?
She's up in her room.
Well, I guess after spending so much time with her, he still does care a bit for her.
What kind of a silly thing was that to do?
To fall in love with you, that was the idiotic thing.
I didn't want to hurt you. You've been good to me.
Why don't you just say thank you and go? Go, go.
Not until you promise to act like a sensible human being.
I'll do it again. I'll do it again.
I think I remember this song from It's a Wonderful Life.
I want you to get out the car. You're to take the script over to Paramount and deliver it to Mr. DeMille in person. Here's the chart from my astrologer. She read DeMille's horoscope, she read mine.
She read the script?
Mars has been transiting Jupiter for weeks. Today is the day of the greatest conjunction.
Where have you been keeping yourself? I've got the most wonderful news for you.
I haven't been keeping myself at all.
Sheldrake likes the angle about the teacher. He thinks it could be made into something.
Okay, where's the cash?
Where's the story? Now, if we could sit down for 2 weeks to get a story.
I'm sorry, Miss Schaefer. I've given up writing on spec.
Mr. Gillis, If you please.
I'll be right there.
I'd kind of hoped to get in on this deal. I want to write.
I'm sorry if I crossed you up.
You sure have.
So he gave up on writing to be with Norma.
Whenever she suspected I was getting bored, she would put on a live show for me. The Norma Desmond Follies.
Why not just go out?
I was thinking about that girl of Artie's. She was so like all us writers when we first hit Hollywood.
Innocent,
Itching with
naive.
ambition. Planning to get your names up there. Audiences don't know somebody sits down and writes a picture. They think the actors make it up as they go along.
Charlie Chaplin?
Paramount is calling. It is not Mr. DeMille in person. It is someone by the name of Gordon Cole. He says it's very important.
Say I'm busy and hang up.
Maybe he's busy. Maybe he's shooting.
Ah, I know that trick. He's trying to belittle me. He's trying to get my price down. Now DeMille can wait until I'm good and ready.
Madame will pardon me. The shadow over the left eye is not quite balanced.
Wow. Max is just good at everything. He's got you covered no matter what.
You see, Mr. DeMille, open the gate.
Mr. DeMille is shooting. You got an appointment?
I'm bringing Norma Desmond.
Norma who?
Why, if it isn't Miss Desmond.
They can't drive on the lot without a pass.
Miss Desmond can. Come on.
Teach your friend some manners. Tell him without me, he wouldn't have any job, because without me, there wouldn't be any Paramount studio.
You're right, Miss Desmond.
Norma Desmond is coming in to see you, Mr. DeMille.
It must be about that awful script of hers.
Awful.
I can give her the brush.
30 million fans have given her the brush. Isn't that enough?
I understand she was a terror to work with.
Only toward the end. You know, a dozen press agents working overtime can do terrible things to the human spirit. I must apologize for not calling you.
You'd better. I'm very angry. Then you could have picked up the telephone yourself instead of leaving it to one of your assistants. Somebody named Gordon Cole.
There's Norma Desmond.
Norma Desmond.
Everybody knows her.
Welcome home, mister. You remember me, don't you?
Miss Desmond.
Hello. Have you been calling Norma Desmond?
It's that car of hers, an old Isata Fashini. We want to rent it for a couple of weeks.
Oh, I see.
It's the car. Oh no, she's gonna be so heartbroken. But apparently she's still popular.
I just didn't realize what it would be like to come back to the old studio. I had no idea how much I missed it.
Yeah, that's what I want to talk to you
It's a
about.
good script, isn't it?
It'll be a very expensive picture.
Oh, I don't care about the money.
She doesn't care about the money.
You don't know what it means to know that you want me.
Hey, here's that funny car Gordon Cole was talking about.
Yeah.
Mind if we look it over?
Just so you don't think I'm a complete swine, if there's anything in Dark Windows you can use, take it. It's all yours.
I'm just not good enough to do it all by myself.
What about all those ideas you had?
Well, see if they make sense.
Look, if you don't mind, I haven't time to listen to the whole plot.
I'll make it short.
I'm sorry. It's your baby now.
Couldn't we work in the evenings? Artie's out of town. We're engaged.
Oh, well, good for you.
Congrats.
I'm free every evening and every weekend. We could work at your place if you want.
Oh, she's really hungry for that success.
It's not Madame they want. It's her car they want to rent.
What?
Goodbye, Norma. We'll see what we can do.
The old team together again. Nothing can stop us.
He didn't tell her. He couldn't bear to tell her.
How'd it go?
It couldn't have gone better. Of course, he has to finish this picture first. But mine will be his next.
After that, an army of beauty experts invaded her house on Sunset Boulevard.
Whoa, she's going all out.
She was absolutely determined to be ready. Ready for those cameras that would never turn.
That's what happens when you have a purpose. When you have a goal to strive towards, you just do anything. But unfortunately, it's not going to happen. Oh, it's gonna break her poor little heart when she finds out.
You went out last night, didn't you, Joe?
Norma, you don't want me to feel that I'm locked up in this house.
It's just that I don't want to be left alone. Not while I'm under this terrible strain. My nerves are being torn to shreds.
That story of mine Betty Schaefer had dug up kept going through my head like a dozen locomotives. So we started working on it. The two of us.
He should just openly and carefully explain it to Norma. Betty is engaged with someone else anyway. He's not gonna go after her.
This is good dialogue along in here. It'll play.
It will?
Especially with lots of music underneath. Drowning it out.
Don't you sometimes hate yourself?
Constantly.
Who's Norma?
Middle-aged lady. Very foolish and very generous.
The old familiar story. You help a timid little soul cross a crowded street. She turns out to be a multimillionaire and leaves you all her money.
Oh man, I was expecting Norma to be standing by the door when he turned around.
Look at this street. All cardboard, all hollow, all phony, all done with mirrors. I come from a picture family. Naturally, they expected me to become a great star. They didn't like my nose. Slanted this way a little.
What?
They were crazy about my nose. Only they didn't like my acting. It cost me $300.
That's the saddest thing I ever heard.
Well, not at all. It taught me a little sense. What's wrong with being on the other side of the cameras? It's really more fun.
The first time you see me coming any closer, I want you to take off a shoe and plunk me on the head with it.
She should. She's engaged.
Feeding her lies and more lies. Getting herself ready for a picture. What happens when she finds out?
She never will. I made her a star, and I cannot let her be destroyed. I directed all her early films. I could have continued my career, only I found everything unendurable after she had left me. I was her first husband.
What? Oh, that's a reveal. So who divorced who? I'm guessing Norma divorced Max. That's why he asked to come back.
Joe, where were you? Is it a woman? I know it's a woman. Who is she?
I have no idea how this will end, actually. Oh no, it had to be that. It had to be called Untitled Love Story. And of course, both their names are there. They're the writers.
What is it?
Well, something came up. I don't want to talk about it.
Why not?
It's probably about Artie.
I got a telegram from Artie.
From Artie?
Of course.
What's wrong?
He wants me to come on to Arizona. He says it only costs $2 to get married there.
Dang, that's cheap.
I'm not in love with him anymore, that's all.
No, why?
What happened?
You did?
That's just great. Whoa, 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 sorry. Whoa, that escalated quickly. So she just dumped Artie.
Betty Schaefer's future right in the palm of my hand. Engaged to Artie Green, and she was in love with me. Me.
He just unintentionally destroyed someone else's love.
She was a fool not to sense that there was something phony in my setup. And I was a heel not to have told her. Maybe I could get away with it. Get away from Norma.
You mean he had that intention in the back of his mind all along?
This is Betty Schaefer.
It's about Mr. Gillis. You do know Mr. Gillis. Do you know how he lives? Do you know what he lives on?
What business is it of yours anyway?
I'm trying to spare you a great deal of misery.
Why don't you come out and see for yourself? The address is 10,086 Sunset Boulevard.
Sunset Boulevard. Dang, it's hard to say who's in the wrong here.
I did it because I need you. I need you as I've never needed you before. You don't know what I've been through these last weeks.
I bought myself a revolver, I did.
I stood in front of that mirror, but I couldn't make myself do it. Don't just stand there hating me. Shout at me. Strike me, but don't hate me. What are you gonna do, Joe? What are you gonna do?
She really has a gun right there.
Ever been in one of these old Hollywood palazzos? That's from when they were making $18,000 a week and no taxes. Just look around. There's a lot of her spread about. If you don't remember the face, you must have heard the name. Norma Desmond?
Why did she call me?
Jealous. There's a bowling alley in the cellar.
There's a bowling alley.
I'll get your things together and let's get out of here.
All my 18 suits, all my custom-made shoes, platinum keychains and the cigarette cases.
Come on, Joe.
Back to a one-room apartment I can't pay for. Back to a story that may sell and very possibly will not.
If you love me, Joe.
Oh, she's pulling the love card.
I've got a good deal here. Maybe it's not very admirable. You and Artie can be admirable.
I can't look at you anymore, Joe.
I don't even know if Joe is telling the truth or he's just saying it so Schaefer can let him go.
Good luck to you, Betty. You can finish that script on the way to Arizona.
I get the feeling he said all that just for Norma to hear and for Betty to let him go.
Joe.
What? He's moving out? Seriously? After all that he said?
You're leaving me.
Yes, I am, Norma.
Huh.
The rest of the jewelry's in the top drawer.
It's yours, Joe. I gave it to you.
And I take it in a second. Only it's a little too dressy for sitting behind the copy desk in Dayton, Ohio.
Wow, he's not taking anything.
I can't face life without you.
And you know I'm not afraid to die.
It's between you and yourself. Oh, wake up, Norma. You'd be killing yourself to an empty house. The audience left 20 years ago. Now face it.
That's a lie. They still want me.
No, they don't. You tell her, Max. Tell her there isn't going to be any picture. There aren't any fan letters except the ones you write.
He's gonna lay it all out.
Madame is the greatest star of them all.
There's nothing tragic about being 50. Not unless you try to be 25.
The greatest star of them all.
Now we see her delusion, unable to accept the reality.
No one ever leaves a star. That's what makes one a star.
Joe!
No, it was Joe? Really? Oh my god, maybe I didn't notice the face earlier, but was it really Joe? But he narrated the dang story.
This is where you came in. Back
So
at that
Joe
pool
died.
again. The one I always wanted.
Joe, how are you narrating this from beyond the grave?
They beached me like a harpooned baby whale. What would they do to Norma? Even if she got away with it in court, crime of passion, temporary insanity, those headlines would kill her.
Yeah, if she doesn't kill herself first.
Norma Desmond, famous star of yesteryear, is in a state of complete mental shock. A curtain of
deny having
silence
killed
seems
this
to
man,
have
Miss
fallen
Desmond.
around her.
Was theft involved? Did you catch him trying to steal something?
Newsreel men are here with the cameras.
This is no time for cameras.
Oh, this is what she's been waiting for. Cameras.
The cameras have arrived.
Tell Mr. DeMille I'll be on the set at once.
Well, it's one way to get her downstairs.
And I'm actually still half in shock at Gillis's death.
Everything set up, gentlemen?
Just about.
Lights!
Camera. Action.
What is the scene?
This is the staircase of the palace.
Oh, yes. Yes. I'm ready.
Cameras! Act!
So they were turning after all, those cameras. The dream she had clung to so desperately had enfolded her.
I just want to tell you all how happy I am to be back in the studio, making a picture again.
Just us and the cameras and those wonderful people out there in the dark.
Wow, I honestly don't know what to feel about this movie right now. I don't know how to I don't know what I'm feeling, honestly. Right now, I think I'm feeling more of shock and still a bit of disbelief at Joe Gillis' death. He was the one who died at the beginning when we saw the movie, and he narrated the whole story and described his own death at the same time. I honestly did not expect him to die at all. So that scene just caught me off guard. Norma Desmond, this character, she's such a unique character. A character who is mentally unstable and narcissist, I guess, because she has pictures of herself all over the place. And she's also in denial because she continues to believe that she is a huge star with tens of thousands of fans. She lives in this delusion, I think, mainly because Max also contributes to it. He was the one, I don't even know how he is able to write thousands of letters every day to her, unless he hires some people to write those letters, maybe. But Max is also feeding her delusion. I understand why he does that though, because Norma also suffers from what they call melancholy or depression. So he wants to take care of her psyche, to care for her mind, her mental state, so that she doesn't try to commit suicide. I honestly don't know how to feel about this movie. I didn't know where the movie was heading towards. It almost felt like I was just being swept along as the movie happened. I suppose I felt kind of like what Joe said in one of the scenes. He said, Like some people think that the actors just make it up as they go along. Like that's kind of how I felt when I watched this movie. I also noticed there's a lot of self inner conflict in this movie, such as Joe has an inner conflict between being with Norma and having all his basic needs met, as in not needing to worry about food, clothes, a place to live, or loving Betty, but knowing that Betty is in love with Artie and they're engaged, but he still loves her and is secretly trying to influence her to love him too, I suppose. I mean, that's the confusing part for me too, because I don't know if he is purposely trying to make Betty fall in love with him, or perhaps he didn't have that intention at all. And then another character with inner conflict is Betty, because she is conflicted about her love with Artie and her love with Joe. I would say that among all the characters in this movie, Joe Gillis is the character which I can't get an accurate read on. The love that blossomed between him and Betty, was it intentional? Unintentional? Him and Norma, did he really care for Norma, or did he only care for the money, or did he act aloof and very cold towards her at the end because he wants her to truly break through the delusion and live for herself instead of relying on him to live? Like, was Joe a good person? I don't think that Joe is a bad person per se. I think he is, deep down inside, he has good intentions for Norma and Betty, but mixed with a little bit of selfishness because he wants to look after his own interests too, right? I need some time to just digest this, and maybe because it's like really late into the night right now, and maybe my brain just couldn't really cope with what happened. So I guess I'll just stop here and allow myself to digest this whole thing as I sleep. What do you think about this movie? Like, just let me know your honest thoughts about it down in the comments below. I'm interested to hear it. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the reaction, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.